or human leaders of a government or empire, and not some strange creature from the sea. Therefore, as a metaphor, the announcement that there being no more sea is a statement of fact that once all the evil and wicked and rebellious people were eliminated from the sea of humanity, in verse 15 of chapter 20, at the great white throne judgment, all of them from all ages are stand, called back from the resurrection of the dead, condemned and thrown into the lake of fire. So at this point of this announcement, there are no more rebellious people so in the sea of humanity. So it makes that declaration, not only are there no more, there won't ever be any more, because everybody from this point on are redeemed, godly people. All of the wicked, evil people have now been cast into the lake of fire forever. So the announcement there be no more sea is essentially is a statement of fact that there won't be any more sea of rebellious sea of humanity. Now, furthermore, in the initial creation, before sin, God created the seas and declared them to be good. Genesis 1, verse 10, and God called the dry land earth, and the gathering of water he called seas. And God saw that it was good. Many Bible teachers interpret this statement, no more sea, literally, because in ancient history, the Hebrews were a land-loving people who distrusted large bodies of water, such as the Mediterranean Sea. To them, the sea was a dangerous and forbidding place. But the sea is not an evil creation any more than any of the other elements of God's creation. The seas were created beautiful with purpose, and God said they were good. The ecosystem of rivers and streams flowing back to the ocean, humidification, and the mist that rose from the earth before it ever even rained, all emptied into the seas. They serve the purpose of filtration and purification of the world's water system. And therefore, to interpret that to mean that system will no longer be necessary in the new heaven and new earth is a little, in my opinion, is a little far-fetched. Now, verse 2, and I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride, talking about the church, adorned for her husband. During the millennial kingdom, Jesus will rule from his earthly throne in the old Jerusalem. That 1,000-year millennial period, the prophecies require that Jesus sit on the throne of his father David in the old or the now existing city of Jerusalem. But in the new heaven and new earth, it's going to be different. His throne is going to be in this city which came down from heaven. Now this city, the New Jerusalem, is evidently the same city that Abraham looked for in Hebrews 11:10. For he looked for a city which has foundations, whose builder and maker is God. And most likely the place that Jesus was talking about when he said in John 14:2 and 3, that I go away to prepare a place for you. This is in consistent on earth, so to speak. And by the grace of God, we sit here now, and we're going to be a part of that because of our faith in Jesus Christ. Whenever it happens, however it happens, dead or alive, we'll be called back, and we'll be part of that because why? We're a part of the church. We are redeemed people. Now, verse 3 through 8. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he will dwell with them. They shall be his people, and God himself shall be with them and be their God. In verse 3 is another insight we want to see. The significance of the tabernacle of God being with men. This is saying that heaven, which is God's dwelling place, where his throne is to ultimately be relocated in the new heaven, suspended above the new planet of earth. The city is described as a holy city, and it will be the home of God, Jesus, and the glorified saints during the 1,000-year kingdom and on into eternity. Now, here's the chapter 21, verse 2 gives us the information about it being a suspended city. Because when you go back, chapter 20, verse 2, you go back to the chapter 20, the earth has not yet been recreated, so it's sinful.